Welcome back to Offsides, BUTV10's only professional sports talk show. I'm Haley Alvarez-Lauto.
And I'm George Atencio. To kick things off, host Sasha Abrams will speak with analysts Stevie Potter and Raf Bruni to review the MLB World Series and preview free agency.
Then Mason Jablonsky and Henry Dinh-Price will debate NBA early season surprises.
And finally, Brooke Alessi will share her thoughts on the controversy surrounding Mitchell Miller and the Boston Bruins.
All this and more, Offsides starts right now.
We are well into November, which means the World Series is over and the MLB's winter meetings are right around the corner. I'm Sasha Abrams, joined today by Raf Bruni and Stevie Potter to recap the World Series and discuss free agency. Raf, tell us about the newly crowned champs.
The Houston Astros are 2022 World Series champions after beating the Philadelphia Phillies 4-2. At the age of 73, legendary manager Dusty Baker has finally won his first ever World Series. Another remarkable story is rookie shortstop Jeremy Pena. Pena had a terrific season, winning Gold Glove, ALCS MVP, and World Series MVP. But a huge kudos goes to the Phillies. This was the textbook definition of a miracle run, and it was beautiful to witness. The fact that a team that finished third in the division with an 87-75 record went all the way to the World Series is truly remarkable.
Absolutely. The Phillies' World Series appearance as a wild card team was like something out of a movie for the city of Philadelphia, with many giving credit to interim manager Rob Thomson, who led the team to a regular season record of 65-46. Thomson replaced former manager Joe Girardi, who started the season with the Phillies with a 22-29 record. Despite their best efforts, the Phillies only won 2 games in the series, but there was no lack of entertainment throughout, with several nail-bitingly close games and a few blowouts, like Game 3's 7-0 Phillies win and Game 4's 5-0 Astros no-hitter.
A miracle run for sure, just not the ending they hoped for. What are some of your takes on the future of the offseason?
This is going to be a very interesting offseason, with some high-profile players being free agents. One of the biggest free agents at the moment is Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge. This year, he had a phenomenal season, where he hit 62 home runs to break the American League home run record. The Yankees obviously want a superstar player to re-sign with them, but there have been many rumors of the Giants being interested in signing the 6'7" outfielder. My prediction is that Judge is going to remain with the Yankees. I feel like his familiarity with the organization and the huge contract it will offer to him will lead to Judge staying in pinstripes next season.
While it's been hard to gauge Judge's opinion on free agency this season, he will more likely than not be staying in New York with a contract rumored to be roughly in the $300 million range.
Whether Judge will stay with the Yankees or not is something to watch in the offseason. Are there any other free agents we should be looking at?
Another huge free agent is the Mets' Jacob deGrom. When the 34-year-old pitcher was asked about his free agency plans after the Mets' wild card loss to the Padres, deGrom said, "I'm not going to discuss any contract stuff." My prediction is that after a disappointing season for the Mets, deGrom's time with the organization is coming to an end, and he will be on a new team once next season rolls around.
Another free agent to look out for is once again in New York, Yankees first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo had 32 home runs this season, second only to Judge. Rizzo also had 77 runs for the team, yet again only second to Judge, who had 133. The Yankees organization has expressed its desire to retain Rizzo, but several others, including the World Series winning Astros, have voiced their desire for a first baseman, so the Yankees will be faced with the possibility of losing their 2 biggest offensive producers, and it'll certainly be interesting to see how the offseason will pan out for them.
New York's teams sure have their hands full this offseason. Lastly, let's talk about the 2 big-name shortstops on the market this winter.
Another big free agent at the moment is Carlos Correa. In 2022, Correa signed a 3-year deal with the Minnesota Twins, but he has opted out of the final 2 years of his contract and is now a free agent. Correa was a 2-time All-Star in 2017 and 2021, and he won the Gold Glove in 2021. He would be a valuable addition to any team. Based on rumors going around, Correa has been heavily linked with the Cubs. And my prediction is that the star shortstop is going to be in Chicago once next season rolls around.
After turning down shortstop and second baseman Gene Segura's $17 million contract offer to stay with the club, it became obvious that the Phillies would be interested in obtaining a shortstop during free agency. Dave Dombrowski, president of baseball operations for the Phillies, said that the club was interested in multiple shortstops, including Trey Turner. Coming to Philadelphia could be an easy decision for Turner if he is made an offer. He will likely obtain a hefty salary, and he would be reunited with former teammate Bryce Harper. But Turner isn't a done deal. There are several rumors that Dombrowski has his eye on Xander Bogaerts. When with the Red Sox, Dombrowski signed Bogaerts to a 6-year, $120 million contract in 2019. So his interest in the shortstop has been public knowledge for some time now. In my opinion, the Phillies need more help defensively than offensively. And while Turner's offensive numbers are better than Bogaerts' defensive stats make him the better fit for Philadelphia.
Those three are certainly going to get a lot of money. It's only a question of how much and who's giving it to them. That's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this offseason, but that is all the time we have for today here on Offsides MLB World Series review and free agency preview. Mason and Henry, tell us about how the NBA is shaping up.
Now that we're a month into the NBA season, we can start to see the true identities of these teams. I'm Henry Dinh-Price, joined by Mason Jablonsky, to discuss our biggest surprises and disappointments thus far. Mason, who has been your biggest surprise team?
Well, one team that has really surprised me so far this season is the Utah Jazz. Prior to the start of the season, Utah was poised to be a key player in the sweepstakes for French phenom Victor Wembanyama in next year's draft class after trading away their franchise cornerstones Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert this past offseason. It looked like a rebuild was well underway in Utah. Simply put, Utah's roster was built to lose, but so far this season, the Jazz have shown that they have other plans. The Jazz won 10 of their first 15 games and find themselves in contention at the top of a stacked Western Conference. Utah's improbable ascent to the top is thanks in large part to the 25-year-old big man Lauri Markkanen, who the Jazz received from Cleveland in the Donovan Mitchell trade. In Markkanen's first and only season with the Cavs, he averaged about 15 points and 6 boards, but his time in Utah so far has been a renaissance. Markkanen is putting up almost 23 points and grabbing nearly 9 rebounds a night in their first 15 games. With his Jazz in contention in the West, Markkanen is making a strong case for a spot in the All-Star game this season. The Jazz also have Colin Sexton, who only averaged about 14 points per game in the early going, but let's not forget that Sexton was averaging 24 points a night just a couple seasons ago in Cleveland. I expect his point tally to rise as he continues to return to form after missing most of last season for the Cavs with a torn meniscus. Now the Jazz find themselves in a weird predicament. At face value, their roster does not seem constructed for a deep run in the playoffs. They need to decide whether they should see how long their success can last, or if they should go ahead and fire up the tank for a chance at Victor Wembanyama, who would be a complete game changer for whichever team that lands him next summer. I think Utah should actually ride this wave and see where it takes them, especially when you consider the treasure trove of future draft picks Utah has collected in the Gobert and Mitchell trades. Their future seems bright in Utah regardless of how successful they are this season, or rather, how unsuccessful they are.
Yeah, I agree, Mason. The Jazz have really shocked us all. Since you took the Jazz, I'll take the Portland Trailblazers as my surprise team. A frustrating year saw the Blazers finish 27-55 last season. Damian Lillard dealt with injury, only playing 29 games, and the front office dealt CJ McCollum to the Pelicans, breaking up the backcourt pairing. With this new-look Blazers team, there were questions about who would be able to step up to support Lillard. Most predictions had Portland completely missing the playoffs this year, but 3 weeks into the season, the Trailblazers find themselves in first place in the Western Conference. Lillard has played extremely well, averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists early on, but he has also missed 5 games due to a calf injury. Even though he's missed time, Portland is near the top of the West due to contributions from Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, and Yusuf Nurkic. Simons ascended in a major way last year, making the jump from 7.8 points per game 2 seasons ago to averaging 17.3 last season, finishing 8th in most improved player voting. He has now made another jump this year, as he's regularly scoring more than 20 points a game, filling the hole left by CJ McCollum. Jeremy Grant, an offseason addition, has also made a huge difference this year. In July, Portland acquired Grant from the Pistons for a bag of chips, also known as a 2025 first-round pick and 2 seconds, a move that has certainly paid off. Grant averaged nearly 20 points and shot 44% from 3 to start the season. He has also done his best Dame time impression, hitting 2 game winners this year to pull off road victories against the Lakers and the Suns. And finally, Jusuf Nurkic is providing the strong interior play the Blazers have gotten accustomed to, averaging a double-double to help the Blazers to their hot start. Yet to play for Portland is defensive guard Gary Payton II, who they acquired through free agency. A core muscle injury has kept him sidelined, but he should return soon and make an impact off the bench, boosting a defense that is already 7th in defensive rating. The Blazers look like they are here to stay, already notching quality wins over the Suns, Nuggets, Heat, and Pelicans. I expect them to be a lock for a top 6 spot in the West, avoiding the play-in tournament, a prediction I certainly would not have made just a few weeks ago. Now that we have discussed a few surprisingly good teams, how about some bad ones, Mason?
While it may not be too surprising, one team that has been incredibly disappointing so far this season has been the Los Angeles Lakers. Los Angeles fans are once again tuning in for a head-scratching and perhaps rather frustrating season, with the Lakers opting to retain their core of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook from last year. The Lakers won just 3 of their first 15 games and found themselves competing with the Houston Rockets for not just the worst record in the Western Conference, but the worst record in the entire association. For Los Angeles, the problem seems to lie in their three-point shooting. The Lakers are right around dead last in the NBA in three-point shooting, and when you look at the Lakers roster, they simply don't have any proven long-range marksmen. This lack of shooting from range simply won't get it done in today's NBA. I will give Russell Westbrook credit, though, as he's actually been one of the better three-point shooters for the Lakers so far, but that's really not a good sign for the team as a whole. Westbrook has certainly been an enigma for the Lakers. Many people were sure the Lakers would move on from Westbrook after what felt like a failed experiment coming off of last season's disappointment of not even making the postseason. The Lakers kept Westbrook, however, and now they have made the decision to move him to the bench. Serving this role as a bench leader actually seems to have helped reinvigorate Westbrook, but his renewed liveliness is not necessarily translating to team wins. The Lakers are on a 5-game losing streak and sitting at the bottom of the league. It's difficult to tell where their ceiling might be this season. Their floor is a little more obvious, though. I think the Lakers need to make serious moves if they want to have any chance at contending this season. They need to acquire a shooter like Buddy Hield, even if it involves giving up Russell Westbrook. The alternative is wasting yet another year of LeBron James' career, who is beginning to show father time creeping up on him. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka has made nothing but bizarre moves since their championship run in the 2020 bubble, and now it seems to be culminating in the worst season so far for the Lakers. If they don't make a trade, the Lake Show will rush towards cancellation once again.
Yeah, Mason, the Lakers really need to figure it out and figure it out fast. I've got the Brooklyn Nets as a disappointment to start off this season. This team has been full of disappointment ever since they signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the 2019 offseason. Brooklyn then traded for James Harden in January 2021, creating an extremely talented Big Three that was poised to win a championship. Unfortunately for the Nets, injuries to Kyrie and Harden limited them in their 2021 playoff run. Then in 2022, Kyrie's refusal to get the COVID-19 vaccine caused growing frustration, resulting in Harden forcing his way out of Brooklyn. He was shipped to Philly and returned for a package that featured Ben Simmons and Seth Curry. However, Simmons didn't play a single game, watching from the sidelines as the Nets got swept in the first round. Now, as we have entered the 2022-23 season, things have already turned sideways for Brooklyn. Head coach Steve Nash was fired just a few games into the season after a slow start, a move that should have been made a long time ago. Then Kyrie Irving added on to the issues by tweeting out the link to an anti-Semitic film, resulting in suspension from the team. It is unclear what will happen and when Kyrie Irving will return, but it would not be surprising to see drama centered around him continue for the rest of this season. The Nets have now hired longtime assistant Jacques Vaughn as their head coach, but they seriously took a look at Ime Udoka before realizing that adding bad PR to a team that is already dealing with Kyrie Irving would not be the smartest move. On the court, things haven't looked much better for the Nets either, as they currently sit below 500. Playing without Kyrie has obviously made things tougher for Brooklyn. Additionally, Ben Simmons has not made a meaningful impact. While he provides defensive value, he still can't shoot, making him somewhat of an offensive liability. When Simmons doesn't play like the all-star he once was, and Kyrie doesn't play at all, Kevin Durant is forced to try and pick up the pieces. Durant has played exceptionally well, routinely scoring 30 points a night, but it has not been enough to carry this dysfunctional squad to a winning record. It is impossible to predict what will happen with Kyrie Irving, but if he doesn't return to the team or his absence prolongs late into the season, the Nets will likely be a first-round exit for a second straight year. And even if Kyrie does return soon, I still don't see a world where this Nets team wins a championship this season. And while lots of focus has surrounded the Nets and the Lakers, and rightfully so, the Golden State Warriors' disappointing start has gone somewhat under the radar. Coming off of an NBA championship, the Warriors entered this season hoping to show the NBA that they have not missed a beat. Question marks surrounded this team after leaked footage released by TMZ showed Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole during practice. However, it seemed like the Warriors would still be primed for a strong start after shelling out massive contracts to Poole and Andrew Wiggins. Instead, the Warriors found themselves with a losing record and sitting outside of the playoff picture. The Warriors started 0-7 on the road, a feat that they have not replicated since 1989, a full 33 years ago. The Warriors have suffered embarrassing losses to the Hornets, Pistons, and Magic, the three worst teams in the Eastern Conference to this point. And a 3-point win against the Kings, where Stephen Curry had 47 points, does not look like a long-term winning formula.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Henry. Curry has put up MVP numbers so far, averaging more than 30 points to go along with high rebound and assist numbers. Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green have also played well, providing value on both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, Klay Thompson is still struggling to find a rhythm after missing 2.5 years of NBA action. He's shooting well worse than his career average from the field and from three, and he's taking more shots than he has points per game. The starting unit as a whole, though, has still been a top 3 offense and defense. However, the Warriors' biggest hole comes from their entire bench unit. With an average bench age of just 23 years old, the Warriors are trying to balance winning now while also developing young talent, and so far, it is not working. With a negative plus-minus rating, Golden State has the worst bench in the NBA by far. Former second overall pick James Wiseman has underperformed, giving up far too many offensive rebounds. And after Jordan Poole received a $140 million contract this offseason, he has not played up to his standards, and he has one of the worst plus-minuses on the team. The Warriors are desperately looking for answers, as this bench unit has not filled the holes left by Otto Porter and Gary Payton II. Despite their underwhelming play to this point, I still have high expectations for Golden State due to their star power and proven ability to win on the biggest stage. However, their bench will be something to keep an eye on, as it is currently sabotaging one of the best starting lineups in the NBA. Don't be surprised when General Manager Bob Myers makes a move to bolster this roster before the trade deadline.
Yeah, great points, Mason. Well, we've definitely seen some excellent basketball so far this season, and some more underwhelming play too. This first month has been no stranger to surprises, and I'm really excited to see how the season shapes up in the weeks to come. Brooke, over to you.
After a public outcry and internal strife, the Boston Bruins have retracted a 3-year entry-level contract for 20-year-old defenseman Mitchell Miller. Miller, the 2020-2021 USHL Player of the Year, admitted to an Ohio juvenile court in 2016 that he bullied then-classmate Isaiah Meyer-Crothers when he was 14 and Meyer-Crothers was 12. The bullying varied from physical to racial, and in one incident, Miller and his friends tricked Meyer-Crothers into licking a candy push-pop they wiped on a urinal. Meyer-Crothers acknowledged that Miller repeatedly reached out to him and apologized for his actions last month through text and social media platforms. Miller's agent claims that Meyer-Crothers gave Miller his blessing and supported him signing the now-retracted contract. Meyer-Crothers denies ever giving his blessing and takes issue with the Bruins having never contacted him or his family. The Bruins were of the opinion Miller's poor decision was an isolated incident. Having learned of new information, the Bruins cut ties on November 6, just days after his signing. The saga continues as the Bruins have still not taken responsibility. Reliving this nightmare has unfairly opened up old wounds for the victim, but this time in front of the whole world. Bruins president Cam Neely claims this was a systematic organizational failure specific to the vetting process. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has said he can't guarantee that Mitchell would ever be able to play in the NHL. Miller was and is not on an NHL ineligibility list. Legally, Miller was convicted of a misdemeanor crime. He should be given a chance to earn a living in the NHL. In my opinion, the only way his past actions can be put behind him
is a chance at success, and it is unfair of the commissioner to take that away from him. Haley and George, back to you.
Thanks, Brooke. That's all we have for this episode of Offsides. If you're interested in joining our team, please email us at offsides@butv10.com.
Also, be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Offsides10.
On behalf of our entire cast and crew, thanks for watching and have a great night.